Hey guys, good morning. So, welcome to KD session series via Zoom meetings. And today we are going to talk about accessibility 101. And before we start straight away for accessibility 101, I'm going to give you a basic introduction why I'm sitting here giving you the KT related to accessibility. All right. All right. So, before I hope you already know about accessibility. What do you mean by accessibility? And even you heard about the name accessibility. But for me, before 2 to 3 months of time period back, I didn't know anything about the accessibility. I know the wording. I saw that wording somewhere on my settings page in my Android device, but I never touched it. So I didn't know. But when there was an incentive demo, Shashika asked us to enable the accessibility support, which means get the accessibility support for incentive applications. So we got like 1 month of time period to do so, and our developers, incentive developers, did a tremendous job enabling accessibility. And within 1 month of time period, we were able to deploy a successful full incentive product with accessibility. And currently, we have 4 customers in live with accessibility on. So I want to share my knowledge with you guys, which I gain related to accessibility, and that's why I'm here doing a K-talk related to accessibility. So let's start. Accessibility 101. So guys, are you ready to start with accessibility 101? Oh, come on, guys. I know it's Monday, boring Monday morning, but we are at home, right? So again, I'm going to ask, are you ready to go with accessibility 101? All right, that's great because I'm not ready. Never mind. Let's start. So this is the content I'm going to talk about: what and why accessibility, type of disabilities. Accessibility is for everyone. I'll talk to you. And WCAG, what and why. WCAG principles, testing accessibility, and there I'll show you a quick demo session using one of the incentive applications which are using accessibility. It's the PUBD application. And then I'll show you tool support and then references, and we are done then after that. Accessibility. All right, let's move on. Oh, what is this? Some staircase, right? Okay, I'm gonna ask you some question. If you're given a chance to climb that staircase, are you able to climb this staircase? You can, right? Yes, you can, because you know, in a daily basis in our office we climb this staircase, so we can climb this staircase. But if I'm going to ask the same question from a person who is using wheelchair to accessible, if that person can accessible this staircase alone? No, right? No, he can't. So, but you can see there's a is accessible wheelchair accessible logo embedded in this wall. But anyhow, that person can't accessible for. So this is the first product. So it's not accessible. So can you see me? I know you can see me because my video is on. Feel free to turn on your video also. But can you read this text? Can you see me? You can read this text, right? Because we are rocking in our young age, express library, and just kidding. Uh, so you can read this wording accurately. But if I'm going to ask the same question from a person who is in his old age, like 60 or 65 years old, like I suppose still that person will be able to manage, but with little bit difficult, right? So if I show this image, this text, Now you can read right. And if I'm going to show this text to a person, the same person who is in older age, and that person will be able to read that text correctly and very clearly than this sheet, right? Yeah, you get the difference, right? Okay. So what is accessibility? Is that the ability to climb the staircase or ability to read the text correctly? Is that the accessibility to you all? So what is accessibility? All right, let's move on. Accessibility, hold on. Accessibility is when applications, tools, and technologies are developed and designed to be used by everyone. This is the most important word in this sentence. So I'm going to read that, read out loud again. Accessibility is when applications, tools, and technologies are developed and designed to be used by everyone. It means everyone, every single person living in this planet. It should be accessible. So if you focus on this image, it says globally 1 billion people have disabilities and 80% live in developing countries. 1 in 5 women live in with a disability compared with 1 in 8 in men. Thanks God. Right. So you see a lot of portion is struggling with the disabilities. What do the current statistics says? The world population is almost 7.7 billion. And 15% of the population experience some form of disabilities. You got it right. 15% of the population. 15%. That's a huge amount. So we can't neglect that 15% of the population or the 15% of portion when we are developing software product, software applications. We can't neglect those portion. In USA, 10.4 percentage aged 21 to 64 years old, 25 percentage aged 65 to 75 years old, and 50 percentage 75 plus has some sort of disabilities. See, this is only for USA, and I suppose this is all for other countries as well. And it says 1 in 2 people over 65 has reduced capabilities. So you see, we are also getting older, right? Day by day, we are getting older. So in somewhere around, we are also in our 60s and 65s. So what will happen when we are in 65 years old or greater than or 65? If the application which are developed and tested, we can't use those applications when we are in old age. When we are in 65 years old or greater than 65 years old, what will happen? Pathetic, right? Those are the applications which are developed and tested, but we can't use those things later on in our old age because lack of accessibility. All right. So why accessibility? Why we need to implement the accessibility in our software product? Is that the same reason because we can't neglect that 15% of percentage of portion? Is that the only reason? Yeah, it's a major reason, but is that the only reason behind that? Why we need the accessibility support? No, right? Definitely, it will increase the positive image of the product. Because I will give you an example. For Incentivio, we enable the accessibility for incentive application in late February and early March or likewise. And now already past 2 months time period, and we already have 4 customers live with the accessibility. We enable the accessibility for all the applications in incentive applications, both the mobile and web ordering app. And we have currently already have 4 customers, which means they have real users which are struggling with disabilities. So it will increase the market. It will increase the market for our product, and it will definitely improve the usability of our product. And it will help the product reach people without disability in different situations. What is that meaning? Without disability in different situations? Oh, is that really means that accessibility is for everyone, all of us? I'll tell you. I'll come to that in later. I promise. All right. And it will definitely improve the SEO, which means the search engine optimizations, because when developing accessibility, we use certain standards and technologies or adding alternative text for images likewise. So those will definitely help to improve the SEO. And also we can build up the high quality and flexible applications if we are enable accessibility for our applications. And there's another one reason behind that. Can you guess? I mentioned that earlier, and this is exactly another one reason. It will avoid the discrimination and legal complications, because there are some countries which accessibility is required by law, and that is one of the major reason why we are getting incentive for accessibility. Because in America there are several companies formed them, and their business is to randomly check the applications which are not accessibility support, and they will take legal actions against them and earn money. That's their business. So in you can see the United States, America, with Disability Act, it was ADA and formed in 1990, and United Kingdom Disability Discrimination Act 1995, Australia Disability Discrimination Act 1992, and Ireland Disability Act of 2005. There may be more other countries, but I listed only these countries. And I'm going to share a simple video with you all, and you will get to know about more details regarding this legal complications by seeing this video. Please have a look.
Is your website accessible to people with disabilities? If not, you could be next in court. Website accessibility lawsuits in the USA alone are skyrocketing. In the USA, UK, EU, and many other countries, website accessibility is required by law. The 1.3 billion people with vision, hearing, physical, or cognitive disabilities must have equal access to digital content on websites, kiosks, mobile applications, and digital documents. The Bureau of Internet Accessibility will scan and analyze your site free of charge and then create your web.
Yeah, we're back on track. And that is actually a commercial from another company which are giving accessibility support for the applications who need accessibility, who need to develop the accessibility in the applications. So the major point I need to emphasize is that it's required by law in several countries. All right, let's move on. So types of disabilities. What are the types of disabilities we have? There are a lot of types of disabilities we have, but I include the major ones. And first one is vision. It's another one we have in Avengers. It's a vision, visually impaired, and it says the inability to see objects, perceive lights or color, correctly judge the distance, or access information in visual media. Typically symptoms include total blindness, low vision, and color blindness. අපි කියන්න 40 සැන්දරිය වර්ණන්තාවය කියලා. Visually impaired. Right. Let's move on. The next one is hearing, audible impaired. A partial or totally inability to perceive sounds and access audio-based information. And typical symptoms include any degree of hearing loss, including those who are deaf and those who are hard of hearing. Audible impaired. And the speech, verbal impaired. The inability to produce sound that is recognizable by people or software. Typical symptoms include muteness, the inability to speak, dysarthria, weakness or paralysis of the muscles required to speak, including lips, throat, and tongue. Verbally impaired. So what do you mean by mobility? The inability to or difficult with use hands, legs, or body parts. Typical symptoms include tremors, muscle soreness, loss of fine motor control, or paralysis. And you know, uh, a famous example of the people who are using wheelchair access who are suffering from mobility disability. And what do you mean by cognitive disability? It can cause loss of memory and limited problem solving skills. And typical symptoms include forgetfulness, extreme emotional changes, and immaterial. In Sri Lanka, there's a famous example for cognitive disability. Can you guys guess that? Any guesses? Anyone? No one? Cognitive disability? All right, I'll tell you. No offense, but Mr. Dumindu Silva is suffering from cognitive disability, right? Forget everything. All right, guys, I'm going to share another video with you all, then you will get an idea what are the type of disabilities and why we need accessibility support for those disabilities. This is a very short video. You'll enjoy this one. And before I start, do you guys ever notice that in YouTube, there's a functionality called CC, and by enabling it, we can uh, enable the caption support. Most of the videos uploaded on YouTube, it will support. So enjoy.
People think that having a disability is a barrier. But that's not the way I see it. You can catch up with friends.
Ready?
You can capture a moment with your family.
One face, small face, focus lock.
And you can start the day bright and early. You can take a trip to somewhere new.
3 miles to the summit.
You can concentrate on every word of a story.
A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes.
You can take the long way home. Or edit a film like this one. When technology is designed for everyone, it lets anyone do what they love, including me.
All right, back to the slides again. And do you remember that I promised you that I'll tell you accessibility is for everyone, not only for the disabilities, right? When I'm talking about importance of accessibility in our applications, I'm going to prove it now. Accessibility is for everyone, and you can see a first lady, nice lady, and but with one hand. So she's suffering from permanent disability, and the middle one, the boy, met with an accident or something, but his arm getting injured, so broken arm. But it's still again temporary, because with getting proper treatments, he will able to cure his arm. And this next one, the new parent, that lady is holding her baby in one hand, so her only one hand is free to do anything, any activities kind of things. So that is situational again. So you can see accessibility is for everyone. It can be me or you tomorrow, we never know, right? And Some applications support any network conditions, so the users can use those applications while at home, in city center, while traveling. For an example, there's a Facebook application and Messenger applications called Facebook Lite and Messenger Lite, and those applications work well in any network conditions, which means even they are working with 2G network conditions. So we can use those things at anywhere, anytime, without breaking. Okay, are we good, right? Let's move forward. So why it matters? So as I mentioned earlier, the permanent exclusion, those who have disability, and temporary exclusion, when a person has short term injury, and situational when people move into different environments, right? And I added some images in order to give you a clear idea regarding the permanent, temporary, and situational with uh, the types of disabilities. Touch, one arm injury, and new parent. We discussed this earlier on. Okay, C. So permanent is blind, temporary cataract, and situational is distracted driver. And when you move into the here, permanent is deaf, thought we can't hear anything. Temporary ear infection, and situational is bartender. So if you are think about the situation, you are moving to the club or party, it's hard to hear anything, right? There are background music running on, and people are shouting here and there, so it's hard to hear something. And compare the situation with the situation when you're in the library. Very calm environment, right? So you can hear anything, so it's situational again. All right, speak. Permanent is nonverbal, total muteness, temporary energetics, and situational heavy accent. Makes sense, right? All right, let's move on. WCAG. So what is WCAG and why WCAG? The World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, developed guidelines as part of their Web Accessibility Initiative, which called as WAI, to safeguard the accessibility of a website, called as the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG. The World Wide Web Consortium is the governing body of the WWW, World Wide Web. So they came up with some set of guidelines to safeguard the accessibility for websites. And yeah, that's not the rule sets. It's not a standard which we need to follow. It's a certain set of guidelines which you need to follow. Those guidelines if you are moving our applications to, if you are getting the applications accessibility support for our applications. The previous version of WCAG was 2.0, which only has guidelines in which are included for web accessibility, and they released a newer version of WCAG, which is 2.1. It's a latest version, and with the latest version, they include some new guidelines which are cover the mobile accessibility too. So with the latest version 2.1, we have both web accessibility guidelines and mobile accessibility guidelines too, right? And there are three levels of WCAG: A, AA, and AAA. A means the initial level, which is at least we need to have this if you need to have accessibility support for our applications, and but it's pretty basics. Basic, the initial level is not sufficient. And the second one is AA. It's the most recommended version, even though the AAA is the greatest. The AA is the most recommended one, and Incentive currently having the AA accessibility. And AAA is the largest one, is the highest version of the accessible WCAG guidelines, but we are not typically recommend to achieve AAA, because it will significantly affect to our designs. sometimes we have to change our interfaces. So the lower legislations also are not recommended to have a AAA. But if you have in it, it's great. But it's almost recommended to have double A WCAG. All right. So those are the levels we talked about previously. A means improve the accessibility for more sites by making it easier for browsing readers to navigate and translate its content. But it's still pretty basic. We talked it, right? And double A, make content accessible for to people with wide range of disabilities by providing guidance of any elements such as error identification and regulators prefer this level. I mentioned this earlier. This is the most recommended one, double A. And going to triple A makes content accessible to widest range of people, but it can significantly alter the design of a site. So government legislation doesn't typically require this because we have to change the interfaces too. All right, let's move on. So, WCAG principles. What are the WCAG principles? So there are 4 principles in WCAG, and first one is perceivable, second one is operable, third one is understandable, and we have final one, last one, robust. So what do you mean by perceivable? Information and user interfaces, interface components must be presentable to users in a way that they can perceive, which doesn't make any sense, right? But it will. I'll show you how it's going later on. Okay, what do you mean by operable? User interface components that and navigations must be operable. For an example, if you take a website navigation, suppose the situation we don't have a mouse, so the website should be accessible using our keyboard. So that is operable. Not only the keyboard accessible, it will talk about lot more areas, and I'll show you later on in the slides. And the third one, understandable. Information and operations of user interface must be understandable. What do you mean by this? It means we have to give the we have to display our web content in understandable manner, right? It should be readable, it should be a clear format, uh, those things. And there are several other areas to cover. I'll get in those things in later on. And what do you mean by robust? And content must be robust enough and should be able to interpret it reliably by a wider variety of user agents, including assistive technologies. That means if you are developing a website or application, that should be work well in across platforms. We never know the user is using which browser, which operating system. We never know, but we should develop our applications to support any platform, to work with any operating system, cross browsers, likewise. So that portion is addressed by robust. All right, let's move on. So to make a website more perceivable, what are the things we can do? There are a lot of things we can do, and I add a few of things to we can do to make a website more perceivable. And the first one is add descriptive alternative text to images. So what do you mean by descriptive alternative text? I'll show you. This is actually a demo site which they provided, W3C, their official demo site. And in here you can see there are 2 home pages they provided. One is inaccessible and the other one is accessible. So I'm going to click on the inaccessible home page. So you can see, just focus on this image, this one, the one in the right corner, this one. So you can see the heading is free penguins. So this is remember, this is inaccessible again, right? So I'm going to inspect the element, and you can see the SRC tag, and there's no tag is called alternative tag, alter tag. There's no tag. So alternative attributes is not set in this for this image, right? So I'm going to the accessible homepage, and did you notice that the title is changed, right? To make a more descriptive one. So I'm going to inspect the element again, the image, the same image, and you can see there's the alternative attributes added. Free penguins playing on a stage. So this is the tag, alter tag. So I'm going to get the report of the inaccessible homepage, and you will see the text alternative test is false, right? And I'm going to get the same report for accessible homepage, and you can see it's false. The text alternative text is fast. And I'm going to the slides again, and I'm going to show you how it's read from the screen readers. Enjoy this little video, then you get more idea.
Heading level 2. Image with no
So
alt attribute.
the first image, this image is not alt attribute. So see how it's read for the from the screen reader.
You are currently on a heading level 2. / example 1, 2, 3, JPG image. You are currently on an image.
Did you hear that? It says / example 1, 2, 3 JPG image, right? So think about the situation if a blind person is accessible to this website and use a screen reader to read the content. We can see this image, right? So we can see there's a dog and tennis ball and grassy field. We can see, but that blind person can't see, right? He always rely with his screen reader. So what will happen that screen reader read that image 1, 2, 3 JPG image? What will happen? It's total frustration, right? That person is maybe fully confused. What the hell is reading is that, right? So and if we add the alternative attributes to our uh, images, the screen reader has the ability to read those things. You will see.
Heading level 2. Image with alt text. You are currently on a heading level 2. A small dog running across a grassy field, mouth open, ready to catch a tennis ball image. You are currently on an image.
Did you see that? The screen reader has the ability to read the alternative text. So we need to add alternative text to the images to describe the images. So the blind persons who are using screen readers, then the screen readers will describe the image for them. All right. We are going back to the slides again. And are you using Facebook? As a silly question, right? 99, I know 99%, 99 of you using Facebook, even with the fake accounts, however you are using, right? But did you ever notice there when you posting photos? So I suppose you posting photos. So did you ever notice when you're posting photos, there's a way to give the alternative text for this for your photos? Did you ever notice that one? I'm going to show how we add the alternate text when uploading Facebook photos. Go to navigate to my Facebook. Go to upload on photo. This photo, the all photo of item all days. And I'm going to edit the photo. And there you can do a lot of things, filters, tags, or crops. I'm not going to do those things. And today I noticed there's a section called alternate text. When you click that one, it will automatically generate the alternate text for this photo. So this is the automatically generated alternate text. So a screen reader, if suppose a blind person is accessible to the Facebook page to this photo, and that screen reader will read this text, and it will describe an alternative text that describe the content of the photo for people with visual impairment. And we can also there's a functionality to override the automatically generated alternative text, right? So that's how Facebook is giving support with accessibility. And that is pretty much same with Instagram. For Instagram also we were able to add alternative text. All right, we are good. Let's move on to the second one. Gives user the ability to resize text button links without breaking the layout. So I'm going to share another video with you all. Then you will get a more idea what I'm talking about. Enjoy this.
Web accessibility perspectives. Large links, buttons and controls. Trying to hit a small target requires lots of effort. Many websites and applications try to thread the needle. But on the web, we can make areas for clicking and tapping larger and easier to use, which is handy on mobile devices, especially when we might be moving around at the time, which is critical for people with reduced dexterity. Web accessibility, essential for some, useful for all.
Web accessibility, essential for some, useful for all. It means we need accessibility for all of us. All right, we are back on track again, back to the slides. And always add captions and transcripts to audio and video content. And if you visit a doctor in a private hospital, you might have noticed that there are certain screens installed, TVs is installed in areas, Lanka Hospital and Navaloka. There are so many hospitals in Sri Lanka. Might have all the private hospital have installed the screens, and they play in videos, right? So while we are waiting to get our number, we are just focused on, sometimes we are focused on the screens, but those screens have videos but with no sound, right? So we are always focused on those because we have nothing to do in those times. But suppose the situation, if we print some caption in this video, in those videos, that will be helpful to all of us, right? So that is the meaning of always add caption and transcript to audio or video content. And I'm going to share another video, then you will get more idea regarding that one.
Web accessibility perspectives. Video captions. Video isn't just about pictures, it's also about sound. Without the audio, you'd have to guess what this film is about. Frustrating, isn't it? Not knowing what's going on. That's the situation for everyone who can't hear. Captions make videos accessible, which is also handy for people who want to watch video in loud environments, or where you need to be very, very quiet. Web accessibility, essential for some, useful for all. Visit w3.org.
All right. The next one is create high contrast between text and background colors, keeps layout simple. And to make the website more operable, the second principle of the WCAG principles, make commerce functionality easily available from a keyboard. I mentioned that earlier, keyboard accessibility. And physical disability person may use the keyboard or voice recognition instead of a mouse, for example. And there's another video I'll show you related to keyboard accessibility. Those are very short videos.
Web accessibility perspectives. Keyboard compatibility. Not being able to use your computer because your mouse doesn't work is frustrating. Many people use only the keyboard to navigate websites, either through preference or circumstance. Whether it's temporarily limited mobility, a permanent physical disability, or simply a broken mouse, the result is the same. Websites and apps need to be operable by keyboard. Web accessibility. Essential for some, useful for all.
Right. And I'm going to share another video. Sorry guys, because this is really interesting, getting interesting with videos, right? Right? So I'm going to share another video related to voice recognition, and you will enjoy this masterpiece of Apple.
Wake up. Voice control is a breakthrough feature that gives you full control of your devices, with just your voice, period. It's a whole new way to do everything you love, period. Like this. Correct love. 16. Open photos. Scroll up. Show numbers. 13. Click share. 3. Tim. Next field. Let's try this one today. Thumbs up emoji. Click send. Open maps. Show grid. Long press at 20. Open app switcher. 4. Tap share. Tap Tim. Tap send. Hey, good to see you. Open music, turn up the volume. All right.
So we are back again with the slides, and the next one is avoid quick moving banners. Provide a way to help user navigation to using descriptive page titles. Include breadcrumbs and other navigation components that help users easily understand where they are. So those are the few things we can do to make our website more operable. The second principle of the WCAG. All right, we are good, and let's move on. The third one, the understandable principle. To make the website more understandable, improve the readability of text-based content, and fields should have labels that are always present. Provide success feedback when data is submitted successfully. Help users avoid correct mistake by offering input assistance likewise, and include form validations that clearly express what the user should enter into fields. And if you take a look into the last the image, there are two text fields to enter the email address, but the first field there is no any label called email address, right? So user might get confused what the hell I want to insert into that text field, right? So no proper form label. And the next one you can see easily there's the email address, and the error message also printing separate, clearly mentioned. So if a blind person is using a screen reader to access that web page, that screen reader can read that error message, so that person might get to know, okay, I'm stuck with my email address, I need to correct it, right? Okay. So what do you mean by provide success feedback? I'm going to share another video with you all, and I promise this is the last video I'm going to share with you, so please bear it. Please look into this video.
Web accessibility perspectives. Notifications and feedback. All the right gears can be put in motion. The hands can be at the exact place they need to be. But if you don't get the response that you're expecting, you'll end up wondering if there's some sort of problem. It's the same on the web. Without clear notifications and feedback, people are quickly disoriented and confused. Especially error messages, which are often complex and confusing. Yet making them understandable is usually quite simple. Making websites and apps predictable and understandable makes them accessible to people with cognitive and learning disabilities. And more usable for everyone, especially for people with lower computer skills. Web accessibility, essential for some, useful for all.
All right.
Visit
We're back on track with slides, and let's move on. To make a website more robust and following web development standard will help you maximize the site's compatibility with assistive technologies. A standard-based website with a clean code will offer a more robust experience across a wide array of devices and platforms. And this is mainly to verify the website is working well across platform, browsers, and devices, screen readers, right? I talked this earlier, right? We should develop our application to work with across all the platforms or across all the operating systems. So that is the entire meaning of the robust principle. All right, and so I'm going to move into the testing accessibility slides. And accessibility testing can be performed in two ways: manual and automated ways. Automated instance is using tools, and here we have understanding WCAG guidelines, and I'll show you how the WCAG guide, how to access the WCAG guideline. And this is the official site of WCAG.org, and this is the WCAG guidelines, and you can see the four principles. They are perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust, and at the end. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of areas to cover in certain principles, perceivable, operable, so on. And there's a filter they offer, and we can filter using a WCG version. The previous version is 2.0, and the latest one is 2.1. We already talked about this in later previously. And I'm going to filter using 2.1, and I'm going to navigate back to the content. And you can see principle one. There are the guidelines they displayed, guideline 1.1, 1.2, and there are a lot of areas to cover. And it's mentioned the level A or level AAA or something like that. And there's understanding, there's a section called understanding 1.2.2, which means the 1.2.2 means the checkpoint of this sub guideline. And when you click on that understanding button, it will navigate to another another screen, which include all the areas we should focus on in order to understanding that subsection. So it will include the intent, benefits which we are getting by implementing this one, and for some examples they added, and related resources, guidance to adding those things, and techniques, tools, all are the added. So it's pretty much easy to everyone to follow these guidelines, because there are for each and every subsection there is the understanding section. So it's very easy to read and understand this WCAG checklist, WCAG guideline. All right, and I'm going to show you the incentive accessibility checklist, which I modified and prepared for our incentive testing. And this is the one I prepared, and this is the customer checklist I prepared using the WCG checklist. And this is a shorter version of the checklist, not include all the things. And this is the customer checklist. I added product URL. This was tested for Provida Miami, one of the Ignitius largest customer live with. So I ran this test for their web ordering app and mobile applications. and I added the WCAG reference to the official site. And also you can see I filter using the principal, so principal 1 here, and then there are more levels, principal 2, 3 and 4 or so on. And I added all the content and the levels and the summary, and that understanding checklist I add the URL into that sufficient techniques section. So anyone is using this checklist, suppose a person who is not familiar with accessibility testing, but that person is if that person is using this checklist, it's very easy to understand, because I did all the things which needs to follow through the WCG guidelines, right? And you can see the some of these guidelines I marked it as not applicable to the applications, because in the incentive year we don't have functionality calls audio captions, audio running, those things we don't have. So I marked those things as not applicable to the application, and those things I marked not applicable. Why? Because those are AAA. I mentioned earlier we are not going to achieve AAA, and incentive currently proudly having the AA. So we are not going to execute those test cases. So I marked is not applicable. And in the top, I mentioned the evaluation tools I used across the platform, and I use NVDA screen reader with web windows. Wave tool with web windows, and Windows narrator with web windows, and voiceover for iPhone with mobile iPhone, Android talkback again with mobile. This time it's Android, and Android is accessibility scanner with mobile Android. So a lot of areas I covered when I doing my testing on incentive accessibility. And this is a summary I got, and I'm going to quickly show you some demo how incentive application is working with the accessibility. I'm going to plug in my mobile. You guys see my screen, right? I mean, with the mobile phone, you guys see, right? Okay, I'm going to, if you're not seeing my mobile device, please let me know. I'm going to enable the accessibility screen reader.
Talk back on. Home button. Home screen 1 of 2.
So you can hear that run, right? All right, I'm going to do the demo using the POVID application, the first client, which instantly went live with accessibility. And this is the application.
Pura Vida Miami. Double tap to activate, double tap and hold to long press. Actions available. You swipe up then right to view.
I'm showing the basic code info. I'm not going to cover all the cover the entire applications, because we have limited time. So I'm going to show the basic flow, order inflow, how it's straight from the screen reader. Okay, I'm going to start with
Pura Vida Miami. Loyalty. Hi, welcome to Pura Vida Miami, presenting the home screen. Double tap to activate.
All right, I'm going to the add in order.
Order. Double tap to activate. Locations. Back button. Double tap. View location Edgewater. Accessibility. Select to speak. Select to speak. Locations. Select to start continuous read. Back. Locations. List. Map. View location Edgewater. Edgewater. Open daily 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get direction to the store Edgewater. 5,612.41 miles. Order now. View location South Beach. South Beach. Open daily 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get direction to the store South Beach. 5,607.58 miles.
Sorry.
Back. Select to speak. Locations. View location Edgewater button. 1 of 3. In list 3 items.
Okay.
Order. Alert, please wait. Order method. Visor ad in 10 seconds. Upgrade for an ad. Pickup button. Double tap. Delivery button. When would you like to pick up? Select a pickup time man. Alert, please wait. Select pickup time. Back button. Select pickup time. Today, 1 of 7, in list 7 items. Double tap to activate. 9:50 a.m. 9:05 a.m. Order method. Today, 5:04, 9:05 a.m. Edit box. When would you like? Continue button. Alert, please wait. South Beach. Back button. Pura Vida menu. Double tap to activate. Accessibility. Select to speak. Select to speak. South Beach. All day breakfast, row 1, column 1, in grid, 8 rows, 2 columns. The superfood smoothies, row 2. Double tap to activate. Superfood smoothies. South Beach. Back button. South Beach. Superfood smoothies. Chocolate PB, peanut butter, banana, almond milk, organic grass-fed chocolate protein, $9.95. Heading, 1 of 8, in list, 8 items. Alert, please wait. Chocolate PB. Detail image, multi-page view. Select to start. Detail image. Chocolate PB. $9.95. Peanut butter, banana, almond milk, organic grass-fed chocolate protein. Decrease quantity by 1. 1. Increase quantity by 1. Customize. Allergies. Please list below and include the word allergy. X peanut allergy, coconut allergy, etc. Please note that we cannot guarantee there has been no cross-contamination. Back. Close. Add to order. Select to speak. Chocolate PB. Alert, please wait. Chocolate PB 1 has been added to your cart. South Beach. 1. You order $10.65 out of list. Alert, please wait. Your order. Your order. Access. Select to speak. Select to your order. Select to speak. Select to speak. Your select to select to speak. Your order. Your order. Navigate up. Double tap to activate. Chocolate PB, selected quantity 1, $9.95. Add item button. Double tap to activate. Tip button. Double promo code button. Double tap to activate. Pick up. Today, 5:04, 9:05 a.m. Change. Double tap to activate. Order summary. Subtotal, $9.95. Charges. Tip $0. State tax 70 cents. 1. Checkout $10.65. Alert, please wait. Choose a payment method. My gift card button. Double tap to activate. Other gift card button. Double credit card, debit card button. Double cancel button. Credit card, debit card button. Double tap to activate. Alert, please wait. Select payment method. Back button. Double tap to activate.
Okay, that is how it's go through the ordering flow. I can't show you the payment flow because since this is a real environment, production environment, I need to have a real actual credit card to process the ordering flow. So I'm going to stop the demo from here. And
no SIM card. Emergency calls only. 11:37 a.m. Selected. No SIM card.
hold on.
Screen off. Ringer vibrate.
All right. So tool support for web accessibility. So to check the web content, we have several different tool supports, and one is a checker and the other one is the wave. and there's another one called accessibility and Google Audit, and there are several different tool supports, but I include the ones I'm familiar with. And the screen readers, the most famous one is NVDA, and JAWS. This it was a paid tool, and Windows Narrator, and for Apple is Apple VoiceOver. And I'm going to check. I'm going to show you how I used accessibility in order to test our web application when I'm doing my testing. So I'm going to navigate to their main site. Sorry. So this is dashboard of main site, and X currently is in the beta stage, so they are giving full access to their pages. So, and I'm going to show you the Pure Vida Miami web boarding test I did, and you can see the test was ran in February 24th, and we found 37 issues out of 40% of completion. I complete the keyboard, page information test, button and links, list, images, headings. So out of 44, it's 37 problems I found. And I'm going to run a new test. Then I'll show you there are less issues in PWM applications. Let us start a new one. Sorry. Come to give the applications URL. I'm going to click on ready. Sorry. Then I'm going to click on ready. Then it will ask a name to our testing. It will automatically run some test and one issue found. And I'm going to do a keyboard test for PureVida. And I need to turn on my development toolbar, and I'm going to navigate to X plugin. There's a plugin. So I'm going to start that now. So you can see on behalf of me, that software is automatically tabbing the keyboard in the website. So it will ask, are there any elements that you expect to be in the tab order, but we are not. So no, right, we all good. We captured all the things. So I'm going to select nothing. Next. And they ask few questions: element, interactive or scrollable region. Those are scrollable. So I'm going to click on that one and click next. Test is finished. I'm going to run a test regarding the web page information and start. The page title is Miami web boarding app. Yes, it's described. Majority of elements are in English. So yes. Finish. And I'm going to add the button links. So all the buttons are highlighted, right? And links. So Hola seems fine, and I'm going to click on next, and it will ask the role. Sign out is the button, and this one also a button, pickup also a button, delivery, and this one also a button, and I'm going to finish. And you can see 44% of completion. We found 3 issues only with the added accessibility. Previously it was 37 issues, right? I show it to you, and we can see the errors. If you click on that one, we can see the errors, see more details and recommended fixes, and the code sector they will include. So it's very useful, this site, when you're doing the testing on the website accessibility testing. All right, then I'm back to the slides again. And okay, tools about for mobile accessibility. So to check the mobile content, there are there are many different accessibility softwares available, and I include the 2 of them, an accessibility scanner and accessibility engine. But unfortunately, those are only available with Android, not iPhone, not iOS. Right. So for mobile screen readers, we have inbuilt screen readers for Android and iOS. For Apple, is VoiceOver, and Android, Google Talkback. Those are inbuilt functionalities. Right. So if you need to get the mobile accessibility support, we have to turn on the accessibility from the settings, and this is related to Android and iOS, pretty much same. And if you enable the accessibility, we have to use the gestures in order to navigate through the applications. It's a little bit difference, the real user using the application and the disability person using the application, because that disability person is using the gestures to accessible once the accessibility is turned on. So there are a lot of gestures we need to follow in order to have the accessibility in our applications, and I include the basic gestures, just the basic gestures in here in my slides, and there are a lot of areas to we should focus on related to gestures. And when you talk about gestures, the gesture support also is different between Android and iOS, and you will get to know about it by looking in these slides, because in iOS there are certain gestures which are not supporting Android, so totally different sometimes. So for iOS, we have to go to settings, general and accessibility, then we have to turn on the VoiceOver. Right, and this is related to mobile accessibility and gesture support. And I think yeah, we are done with the KT, and these are the references I added when I'm preparing the content for my slides. And I'll send these slides to you all, and if you like, you can navigate those references and you can read more and get an idea about what is accessibility actually is. So guys, that's it related to accessibility 101. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But remember, I'm not a pro, so I'm trying my best to answer your questions. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions related to accessibility. And I suppose you will get something from my KT, and I think there's no more questions, and we are good, right? Okay. So guys, stay home and stay safe, and thank you for joining and of wasting your valuable 1 hour time period with me to her
Thank you,
accessibility. Yeah, hello.
Hello, Dinasha. Thanks a lot. Thank you for sharing the accessibility related testing, heads up and everything. for me, it is really worthwhile. Thanks a lot.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome.